to our show, New Jersey Business Stars. I'm excited to say that I have the CEO of the Judy Schmidt today. She is the CEO of the New Jersey State Nursing Association. And for those of you who are not aware of the New Jersey State Nursing Association, it's an institution that is well over 120 years old and thriving thanks to this woman sitting next to me right now. Their representation of over 165,000 nurses throughout New Jersey, and among other things, just a strong advocate for these nurses and what they represent. So, welcome, Judy.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure to have you here. And why don't you tell me and our audience here a little bit more about what the institution does and your role.
So as you said, we are advocates for all nurses in the state of New Jersey, and there is over 165,000. We speak to legislators about any kind of bills that they may be presenting that would affect the practice of nurses in the state of New Jersey. We coordinate with the New Jersey Board of Nursing on issues that they may have with nursing practice. We also are fortunate enough to work with the Board of Nursing in their Alternative to Discipline program. So we help to make sure that our nurses who may have some sort of impaired practice get the counseling and help that they need, and then we monitor their practice for an additional 5 years. So we're an advocate for nurses. In addition, we offer education programs through our Institute for Nursing, so that our nurses are required by their licensure to have a certain amount of contact hours to keep their license. So we do provide that opportunity to get contact hours through our provider unit. In addition, we offer monies through our institute for scholarship for nurses to go to nursing school or to continue to advance their degrees, such as a master's degree, a doctoral degree, etc. And also we do offer some monies to help nurses who may be doing some nursing research. So we advocate and we educate, and we also assist our nurses in many, many aspects in their career.
It sounds like a tremendous mantra that I think you should carry.
Yes.
And that's
Yes.
pretty awesome. One of the things I think you'll be especially interested in is as a membership, if you're running a membership or even an organization that requires to keep your members apprised of what's happening and represent them. Judy, is it correct that since this membership since your tenure starting with the association, that the membership has in fact more than doubled?
Yes, we have more than doubled. We were very concerned when I came on board in 2015 that we were really dropping our membership. So through the activities with our board, we do have a volunteer board, and some of the initiatives that I've put forward, we have been able to double our membership in 6 years, which is really very good for us.
So these are some of the structures that we want to share with other leaders and other, successful positions like yourself to share with entrepreneurs and business leaders alike. What are some of the things that you've done that you think you could share with us that brought on these successes of this membership?
So I think a couple of the major programs that we did was we really looked at the cost of the membership, and we found that in some areas it was cost prohibitive. It was a little bit more than what the average nurse who works in a hospital, a nursing home, or in home care could afford. So in collaboration with our national, which is the American Nurses Association, we went into a pilot program which reduced our dues by 50%. So that was a great impetus. But also concurrently, we engaged a marketing company, Creative Marketing Alliance, to do our PR for us. So they were very instrumental in getting that word out about what the association does. As I mentioned, the advocacy, the education, the helping of the nurses and resources for them. In addition to letting them know that the cost is now gone down tremendously. So I think working with the boards and working with outside companies has really helped us to really strategize a very premier position within New Jersey.
Okay, so what I'm hearing for those that are listening is by increasing the membership, marketing was a strong force to be able to get in touch with these nurses, to get it out there that the membership is now affordable, and aligning the cost of the membership with the services, but also marketing. I think in today's
Exactly, and I think a lot of companies, when they look at cutting their cost for their memberships, or their dues or whatever they do, they're very concerned about, well, we're not going to have enough money. But what we found by taking the risk is that we've doubled our membership. So in essence, we've actually gained revenue, even though we did cut our costs to the individual member. So it was a gamble we took, and it was a very successful gamble. But again, marketing is the key to that.
and volume.
Very strong volume we have, but marketing is the key to make sure that the nurses out there in the state are aware of the cost and what the benefits are.
Nice key points. So, what are some keys to developing the next generation? Would you say? How would you?
That is a very big challenge. So I think the next generation is currently we, as both the staff within the association and also the volunteers on our boards and committees, really need to know what our new nurses think is important.
Okay, it's not the same as it was.
It's definitely not the same as it was. I'm a baby boomer. I hate to say that, but I am a baby boomer. So it's definitely not the same goals that I had as a baby boomer.
Sure.
So we find that our new nurses prefer, they do join, that they do join, but we want them to be a little bit more than joiners. We also want them to be active in the association. So we understand that they like short-term projects. They're not the type of person who would stay and be a committee member for 2 years or 3 years, or sit on a board for 2 or 3 years. They want very short projects. So we're looking at how we structure our committees, focusing more on ad hoc and task force that are time limited. So we think that's going to encourage those younger members that we have to be a little bit more active. As far as recruiting new members in, I think the biggest issue that our new nurses have is workplace advocacy.
Okay.
Not only is it we talk about the number of nurses, and the amount of patients that the nurses have. We talk about those staffing issues, but we also talk about the workplace environment itself. Is it conducive towards the new nurses learning, not being threatened? So we look at issues such as workplace violence on both our state level, and we also look at it nationally. So there are different goals that the new nurses have. They're coming into a different environment. Technology is constantly changing. So we as an organization have to be aware of that and be able to help those nurses as they move forward in their career.
Makes a lot of sense. Is there a hierarchy to how you position the strategy of the company, or the organization, I should say?
So when we look at our organizational chart, we have our members on top.
Okay.
So it's that reverse
probably
organizational chart.
Mhm.
So our members are on top. Then we have our board of directors. Then we have our staff. And then we go into a more traditional organization after that, where we have our committee structures and their chairs and et cetera. But we do believe in that reverse organizational chart, so that the members are at the top.
Okay,
And
so you're listening to the members,
Absolutely.
what they need, and I can see how that would bring more value to the membership, because they're running it almost vocally.
Correct.
They're hearing what they want.
And we do have an annual meeting, which is not restricted. It's all members attend, and all members have a vote at our annual meeting. So it is truly focused on the members, the individual members.
Great. And of course, with all organizations, companies alike, we all have problems. What are some of the problems that you've experienced, and how did you handle them?
Interesting.
Anything come to mind?
So some of it is the pandemic, which we
Okay.
just experienced with COVID, but we were fortunate enough that although we had to work more remotely during the acute phase of the pandemic, we did not see a decrease in our revenue. As a matter of fact, we saw a little bit of a bump up in our revenue. We saw that more nurses were joining their professional organizations, not only in New Jersey, but also throughout the United States. So that was a great thing for us for the pandemic, but it did cause a lot of problems operational wise in that we like to have face-to-face meetings. We like to have our galas and our dinners, and our annual meeting was always a face-to-face in Atlantic City. So we had to strategize into the virtual world. So
as we all have this past year,
absolutely, and we love the the virtual Zoom world and how accessible it is. But we're getting to the point now that we really want to have more of a face-to-face and personal contact. So that I think is one of probably our biggest issues. Again, we were fortunate enough that we could still operate without minimal disruption during the pandemic. So I think that's probably our biggest thing, is to get back to that personal touch with our members.
Now, do you feel that when it's members of your staff, I should say, are you a we team? When these problems do come up,
we're a we.
Okay.
We are a we. You can't operate any kind of organization, as a solo person. You need to have a very supportive staff. I have two supervisors that they're a director level who definitely are very engaged with their staff. We have weekly staff meetings with everyone. It's not just a supervisor meeting and then the supervisors meet with their staff. They do meet with their staff, but we all meet as a group once a week. And it's a very short meeting. It's virtual. It's just, are there any issues? Do we need to discuss any problems? Because it doesn't matter whether you're a staff person, a director, or the CEO. There are some issues that we all have that are similar. So we're able to discuss and strategize anything that we need to do at those weekly meetings. Some meetings are like, I got no problems. And we're done in 5 to 10 minutes. Other weeks we have, for other weeks we have an issue where there may be, for instance, an IT issue that we're all having, and what are we going to do? How are we going to work with our IT person to help strategize those issues?
It works out well.
It works extremely well because we have a very great IT company.
Well, fabulous to hear. So, one of the things I would like to know is, and our listeners, when you're lobbying, you are the voice of these members. How much struggles do you face when you are, and how much time is put into that?
So we do lobby. That's one of the missions of the association. Previous to the pandemic, it was fairly easy to either meet with a legislator here in Trenton at the State House or to even go back into their home districts. Did a lot of traveling. I traveled from Cape May County all the way up to Sussex County. So,
and we're in order to be where you needed to be, to be in front of the person.
Exactly. So there could be a 9 o'clock meeting in Bergen County with one of the assemblymen or assemblywoman. We were there. So I kind of enjoyed it. It was a lot of traveling, but it was really, it's very good to be face-to-face again. We go back to that real personal touch. The pandemic has caused a lot of problems. We certainly cannot go to the State House. The State House is closed to visitors. Most of their meetings are held virtually, so you don't have the access.
Waiting outside the door to catch somebody,
or
one of the senators
someone's coming
out.
by that you could stop them and speak to them. So there is a small access issue. I will say, however, that our leaders in the legislature have reached out to the association concerning issues during COVID. What does your membership feel? What are some of the things that we can do to help nursing? So there has been some, but again, it's a virtual world, and it's not really the same. But we're out there still lobbying. We're calling. We're meeting virtually. We're doing the best that we can until we can actually get there and meet face to face again.
And are these representatives open to meetings, or is it difficult to get them?
They're open. I mean, they're certainly, their schedules can be tight at times depending on what's going on as far as the legislature and the committee hearings, any bills that have to be voted on. Of course, this time of year is the budget. That was just finalized in the last few days. Now, of course, we know that our entire legislature, our governor is up for election in November. So all our legislators are all back in their districts to do their campaigning. So we rely upon our members in those individual districts to see if they can get in and speak to their legislators too. So in addition to myself, we do ask our members to go out and and support some of our nursing issues. And they've been very good at doing that.
Well, I'm sure it's the value that, is part of the membership.
Absolutely.
And making sure that, these laws do affect every single one of them.
Absolutely.
Right? So
Absolutely.
that is something they can look forward to. No stranger to awards. I've seen you have a stellar record of being acknowledged and recognized, even by your own alma mater, Seton Hall. And one, while that one, the ANP, is it?
I've had several. I've had a couple of the hospitals that I've worked with that have been recognized as an employee or an advocate for nursing when I was here in the position. The Philippine Nurses Association, I've received recognition from. The Seton Hall University. There's quite a few of them. I don't want to.
Well,
go on
I
and
know
on,
nobody
but,
wants to
you
do
know,
it.
yeah.
Here you go. Right here's my long list.
Yeah.
But I can say that's probably the contributes to the success of this organization. One that comes to mind is, I think it's the Commerce of Industry, where you were acknowledged for your measurements and your analytics for the membership. And do you feel that that's probably a direct shining of why the membership's doing so well because of the way you're? What are share with us? We want to know what are some of those analytics and measurements
So
you put
again,
in place.
a lot of it has to do when you talk about a membership association and dues. A lot of it is what is in it for me.
Mm-hmm.
Why would I join your organization? So again, through our marketing efforts and internally and externally, we want to make sure that the members are aware of what the benefits are to be a member of the association, both professionally and personally. We've been able to do affinity programs for our members when it comes to malpractice insurance, their professional insurance, when it comes to car insurance, uniform discounts. So we want to make sure that their membership is what the members want and not what we think they want. So it's always engaging the grassroots members. We do, as an organization, have what we call regions. So we're broken up into 6 regions within the state, and that's where we garner that grassroots nursing.
Different regions have
Different
different
regions
needs.
have different needs. There's presidents of the regions. They have a voice on the board, so they're able to bring any of the issues that they see at their regions to the board level.
So utilizing them, you're able to zone in on these
and
metrics.
it's always listening to your members. If you're a professional organization or a membership organization, it's listening to your members. If you're a corporation, it's listening to your stockholders. And soliciting. Don't wait for them to tell you.
Okay.
Go out there and ask them, what is it that I can, was that John F. Kennedy?
Mm-hmm.
What can I do? It's not what you could do for the association.
Right.
What can the association do for you?
Very good.
Yeah.
Very good words. So what do you feel is the most, that's been your greatest accomplishment in these past 7 years?
Well, I think, again, the membership increase. I think the ability to get some of our bills moved and passed into law, making sure that bills that may impair the practice of nursing in New Jersey, that those bills do not move forward. So I think the big is financial stability and advocacy for the nurses in the state. Those are the 2 big accomplishments I feel that I've done in the last 6-7 years.
Well, they're extremely awesome, for lack of a better word. Very good accomplishments. And if you had anything to share, special tips, last, advice tips for business leaders and alike CEOs that are just, maybe taking on their positions and are struggling, which way to go, but just some advice.
So I feel as a leader that it's keeping an open door policy, not only for our membership, which I've mentioned that we have that line of communication between the grassroots to our boards, but within the organization structure for the staff. My door is always open. It's just closed at the moment.
Right.
Okay, just
even
to
if it's
make
virtual,
sure.
right?
Because it's
No more
right,
virtual,
exactly.
Right?
But that door is always open. It's very rarely closed. So the staff know that they can walk into my office at any time.
So that's wonderful. So, ladies and gentlemen, some great advice coming from the CEO of the New Jersey State Nursing Association. Thank you, Judy Schmidt,
Thank you.
for being on our show today.
Thank you.
And we really appreciate it.
You're welcome. Yes.